Hey nerdies, it's kathleenmms here, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite comic book character, Deadpool. So the new Deadpool movie came out and I had some people ask for me to share my opinions of it because I've talked about Deadpool a little bit on this channel. I've reacted to the trailer and I have to say, like, Deadpool is a hard character to get right because people that don't understand Deadpool don't understand that he's not just coarse, vulgar humor. He's a mixture of silly humor and tragedy and heroism. Like, he's not just this vulgar, fart joke kind of character. There's so much more to him than that. And if you read, Cable and Deadpool is my favorite comic book, one of my favorite comic books of all time. And if you are a Deadpool fan and haven't picked it up, I would suggest you start reading it. If you've never picked up a comic book before, it's probably a really good place to start reading superhero comics. Because it has such a really good story, and Cable is also a really incredible character. But this was the first movie that I saw in Korea, in Korean theaters, and it was a really cool experience being able to watch this movie, being one of the few foreigners in the theater. It was an interesting social commentary because there were some jokes that many of the Koreans didn't understand. I of course watched this video with subtitles, with Korean subtitles, and there was a little bit of lag with their reactions and my reactions. And I watched it with about 3 other foreign friends, and they all really loved it. And to me, having so many people love this movie, it's kind of like introducing your lover to your parents and having it go well. And that's how I feel about this, is finally the world is accepting a character that I've loved for so long, and I'm so glad that he's becoming mainstream because many of my normal, non-geeky friends didn't know who he was. I noticed that some things were lost in translation, like they didn't even bother translating some vulgar jokes. There was one instance where Deadpool makes a joke, "I never say this, but don't swallow," and they didn't even bother translating that into Korean. I don't know why. Maybe they just didn't think that Koreans would find it funny, or there's no way to really translate that into Korean. So, what did I think of this movie? I loved it. In fact, this is, to date, my favorite comic book movie of all time. I'm gonna tell you why. I think that they mastered Deadpool. They mastered all of the things that make Deadpool Deadpool, and it's so hard to do. So I was worried that they were just going to fill the entire movie with baseless, just vulgar humor. And that's one of the biggest complaints I have with the video game. I love the video game, but there's just not enough seriousness. There are many times when Deadpool straight up saves the world in the comics. He's like this neglectful hero, and the only thing I don't think they got right about the movies is that he's always saying, "Oh, I'm not a hero, I'm not a hero, not a hero." In the comic books, he's trying to convince everyone that he's the hero, and every time the X-Men offer for him to be part of the X-Men, he jumps with joy. I don't understand why when Colossus suggested that he join the X-Men, that he was like, "Oh, hell no." Like, are you serious? Let's take a look at how he reacted to joining the X-Men in Cable and Deadpool. The first thing they did right was the casting choice. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds was perfect for the part. He emulates Deadpool's kind of trolly, ridiculous humor in his personality. It's just, Ryan Reynolds just is one of those comedians, one of those funny people that just has humor ingrained in him. And like, his sense of humor is just so natural that, like, just seeing how he behaves on like Twitter and social media, that alone proves that his personality is the perfect brand of slightly immature but super ridiculous humor that is perfect for Deadpool. They also really touched upon the tragedy of his character. Deadpool never really has a happy ending. Unlike this movie, they kind of made his story a little bit happier than it usually is, because Deadpool just experiences misfortune after misfortune in the comics. But his story, especially his beginning story, his origin story, is super depressing. I mean, he is tortured into his mutations, and they didn't go fully into, you know, how Wolverine's genes were used for his mutations, and there was absolutely no kill brew in this movie, but that didn't really bother me because I felt that Ajax and Wade Wilson's rivalry was perfect for the kind of film they were going for. So I'm willing to recognize that they made some sacrifices for the sake of this isn't a comic book but a movie that I actually appreciated, and I didn't mind those changes. There were a couple of little things that I was like, oh, eye-rolly, but other than that, I feel like this Deadpool seems so real to me. Overall, I know that this video was a little bit scatterbrained or whatever, but I just kind of wanted to share my few opinions on the film, and overall I absolutely loved it, and they did one of the best jobs I've ever seen of depicting a comic book character in a movie, and I would highly recommend it for anyone who likes humor and action. Go ahead and check out this film. I should go.
Max is an insecure 18-year-old student. She transfers to a new school where she struggles to fit in and deal with the daily pressures of young adulthood. After witnessing her friend get shot, she discovers her extraordinary ability to rewind time and shape the world around her.